Cyberpunk 2077 is catching so much heat as it gets closer to release. Due to distribution outlet issues, tons of people across the globe have got their hands on a copy of the game way too early. CD Projekt did their best and popped off with a failsafe plan on all their social media platforms addressing content creators specifically. Basically, in a nutshell, it said if you try to stream the game or create content on it prior to release, they would sick the DMCA on them, which basically means that if you create footage or reveal any footage streaming it, whatever it may be, any shape or form, you're going to be handled with and the content will be deleted accordingly. Now, this video serves as a warning to all of you fans out there when you're surfing the web. Be careful because you might come across something you don't want to see. Unfortunately, even though CDPR has been hard at work at keeping this game under wraps before release for fans to have a pure experience, leaks have still got through and are spreading like a virus. Just like CD Projekt, I want you Cyberpunk fanatics to have a pure and spoiler-free experience, and that's why I'm making this video. Also, I want to reassure you that Cyberpunk 2077 is nothing short of amazing. I know you know that, but I want to tell you I really know now because I did get a bit of a preview of some gameplay leaks on the Xbox Series X. Yeah, I know, I caved and I watched a full hour of Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay on the Xbox. Don't hate me, I promise I watched it with good intentions. I had content creation in mind and you guys because I want to bring you everything I can about Cyberpunk 2077 and all the cool stuff that's being talked about. The gameplay was completely spoiler-free compared to all the stuff we've seen in Night City Wires. It's a lot more of that basically, but in full HD, crisp, clear gameplay, raw, uncut, unedited, and it's just the game. It's not something that's being prepped by CDPR for our viewing pleasure. This is just hands-on with the game, and I'll be talking about it more here in a second, so stick around to hear about it. Now, aside from the good things I want to tell you about the game, on the other hand, there are a lot of Redditors talking about game-breaking bugs, visual glitches, cars driving through walls, and all kinds of issues to throw us fans off our hype for this game and mess with our heads. Toxic leakers that intentionally set out to tarnish Cyberpunk's reputation and act like it's going to just fail at launch blows my mind. Not to mention, these guys are leaking footage or experiencing footage and talking about footage that's not even the final build of the game. Don't take anything they say serious. Take it all with a grain of salt if you've been on Reddit or any platform that just has that type of, toxic atmosphere. Again, the gameplay I have seen is insane. It's going to blow you guys away. Before we get into all the juicy details, I would appreciate you if you considered leaving a like rating down below to help out this video. Big ups for tuning in and consider joining the Fiasco family today because there is going to be a ton of Cyberpunk 2077 content coming soon and it would be a bummer if you missed out on any of it. I'm genuinely so hyped to tell you guys about this leaked gameplay I've seen. Allow me to express to you again though that you will not need to worry about any spoilers because this video contains nothing like that. The main things we are going to talk about are the overall atmosphere, a few gameplay mechanics, weapons, and things like that. Good? Okay, let's get into it, Chumba. Keep in mind the gameplay I did watch was fully captured on the Xbox Series X based on the button overlays I saw on the heads-up display in-game. Obviously, there are some things optimization-wise and limitations console players will deal with that PC players won't. An unlocked beast of a gaming PC with ray tracing enabled is obviously going to make Cyberpunk look and feel a lot different. With that said, chill out down there in the comment section, PC players. I don't want to see a bunch of those PC master race garbage comments. Okay, no console wars. Okay, let's keep this clean. With that said though, Cyberpunk 2077 looks absolutely amazing on console, so don't worry about it, console players. Optimization details are small things to nitpick when looking at the bigger picture. The only thing to note that I felt seemed super different was the amount of NPCs I saw running around and small things like ambient particles floating through the air, trash being tossed around in the wind, stuff like that. In previous gameplay previews I've seen on YouTube where people get a full hands-on experience with the game for several hours and they have a video breakdown like talking about their full experience. Those were the things these people said they saw a lot of in Night City and made it feel that much more immersive, but they were on PC, so that makes sense. The main complaint I have really after watching was some clothing clipping on NPCs and NPCs like floating off their chairs in some areas, stuff you've seen in like a Ubisoft game, but these things will more than likely get fixed with a simple patch on update after release. Guys, it was hard for me to find something to complain about and I wanted to get the bad things out of the way first, but there was almost nothing because seriously, Chumba's this gameplay was insane. It blew my expectations away more than I ever thought it could. Even after all the Night City Wires we've seen and gameplay we've been exposed to, I was still shocked. Still am shocked. And the cherry on top, this was Xbox Series X gameplay, not even PC, so I'm excited. Of the almost full hour of gameplay I've seen where a player walks around as V through Night City and drives and does different things, I'll keep it short and sweet and talk about the key things and funny or cool moments that happen throughout. Right away, as soon as the gameplay started, my jaw dropped. Not even kidding. I can't tell you how good the fidelity of textures are in this game, on the buildings, on the ground, the concrete, the way they handled metal, glass, everything looks perfect. It looks so good and so clean. Almost immediately after I was starting to get immersed in the scenery though, and I was taking it all in, I had a jump scare because I think the player was just as in awe as I was with the draw distance in the game, being able to see buildings so far away, because he was zooming in on one, focused up on it, and then he gets clipped by a car. He literally almost gets ran over and killed on the spot. It would have been gameplay over. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, he got up, brushed himself off, and then used what looked like a stim from what you would see in Warzone, Call of Duty, and other games where you heal yourself. He actually just jabbed it into his chest and healed himself right on the spot. Then the player walks through a high rise. He actually gets onto a stairwell. It's like a 3-level one, and whenever he walks up the stairs, you can see cutouts on the side, so the player can still take in the city from anywhere they are. And to me, that's awesome that CDPR did that, because there's a lot of enclosures and buildings that would potentially otherwise realistically keep you from being able to see Night City, but they obviously took that into account because it looks beautiful. Fast forward a little bit and the player is exploring this big building and the verticality in Cyberpunk, and then he comes across a dead body just laying on the ground in one of the breezeways, and the dude has loot on him. You can just take his clothes off his body and equip them to V and take whatever he has on him. What was really crazy though is after he fully looted this dead body, this person, he had a chip pop up in his inventory, and then on his heads up display, he got what looked like a side quest mission. I'm not 100% sure still, but I feel like it could have also been a brain dance where the player could have watched it back and seen how that character died. In this very same area, interesting enough, the guy looks up and sees a bouncer guarding a door and a woman standing next to him having a conversation. They don't seem to care at all about this dead body. So for all this player knows and I know, that bouncer could have actually killed this guy. I think this player thought the same thing the instant I did, because he pulled up an in-game scanner, scanned the bouncer, and come to find out the dude is wanted. He has a bounty on his head, just a random NPC doing his job. The apparent reward for bringing this guy in was 800 credits and 81 street cred. Now, in the gameplay, the player did not decide to pursue this and capture him. I think he was trying to really avoid all spoilers whatsoever. But the thing is, if you have missions like this in Cyberpunk in Night City, think of just how many there actually are. This guy wasn't even obviously a bounty or anything. It's not like he had something indicating he was an enemy or that he needed to be brought in or he was a part of a certain mission quest. In other games, everything is so handheld and everything has an icon representing what it is. For example, he could have had a red dot or a skull or just something indicating he was an enemy, that he was a bounty, and that he could be brought in. But this game didn't do that at all. The player had to scan him to find that out. Fast forward again through some more beautiful cityscapes and the player walking around and taking it all in, he comes across a few street vendors which just offer clothing. And in most games, you have designated spots, you know, to go for clothing shops. And in this game, obviously, it's not the same case. You just seemingly walk up to somebody that looks like a vendor and hey, they actually are. They're not just fluff for the game and the immersion. They actually have a reason to be there. And the player proceeds to talk to him. The guy says he's like ex-Tiger Claws and he wants to be in the game, but he's been demoted and he has to sell clothes. But still, it's crazy that there's that level of immersion when it comes to just shopping around. Then in the last bits of gameplay, the character walks around as V, gets in a car and drives around, and the game looks amazing even at fast speeds when the character is driving. Frames seem stable, performance is good, and the car sounds and looks gorgeous. I will say audio design in this game, guys, it's very, very aesthetically pleasing and it's going to soothe your ears so much. I would recommend a headset, of course, but there are a lot of sounds that you need to pick up on in this game to make you feel fully immersed, and not wearing a headset would be an insult to how good this audio is. Now, the next clip I want to talk about is where the player seemingly actually starts from the start menu, and it happens to be V's apartment. There are different loading screens that happen here. The player lets it kind of slow down and show off the beauty of the apartment and all the different screens it cycles through while it's loading the Night City world. And then the player simply interacts with a soda can and it's back into Night City in the car driving. After seeing some insane high-speed gameplay in his new supercar that he looks like he stole from a Tiger Claw, the player gets out of the car and walks around on the sidewalk for one last time and actually stops by a gun vendor and it's insane how detailed these menus are. Every single item has so many attributes, so many things from stats to your cool, to the way your weapon works and performs with overheating, to your clothing and how much defense it offers you. The player hovers over several different items in the inventory, and I'm guessing this is like a universal way to check out your V's gear and even their skill tree. Guys, there is so much on screen happening when the player is showing this off. I paused it, overanalyzed, checked out so much, but I don't want to spoil any of that. I want you guys to witness that for the first time in game, and that sums up the preview of the leaked gameplay that I saw. There was actually a bit more with some gunfights and stuff, but I didn't want to get into that because they all aligned with like side quests and stuff, and I want you guys to be able to experience everything for the first time. I mainly wanted to give you an in-depth preview of what I saw, in the sense that the game looks gorgeous and performs super well, and there's so many things you can do even in free roam that you're going to come across, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm so jealous of all these people getting it early, but guys, be safe. Don't look up too many things for Cyberpunk on Google. Keep it to YouTube, because at least the DMCA is being very strict on Cyberpunk, and you won't see too much exposure on the game. Otherwise though, stay off Reddit, stay off all those other social media platforms if you're wanting to avoid spoilers. Go check out some of my other awesome Cyberpunk 2077 videos. We are so close to launch, you guys, and I can't wait to bring you more content. Cyberpunk fanatics, Fiasco family, I hope to see you all in the next one. Later.